Mary Jane, sung by Sidney Wayne Davis and Julio Hansen, singing and taking a break from the photo shoot for the Roby Theater production of the magnificent Dunbar Hotel, and also some upcoming interviews from some of the cast members about Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Welcome to the Coon Round Report. May the peace and blessings of the life-giving creative spirit be upon you and upon your family. My name is Melvin Ishmael Johnson, coming at you live from Skidrow Studios, and I'm in the studio with my co-host, Earlene Anthony. Now, this week on the Coon Round Report, you're going to hear some artist voices during Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I'm delighted to have with us in the studio the writer and director of a new play about breast cancer, Faces, Shades of Survivor, written and directed by Odell Ruffin. And this Sunday, October the 25th, 2014, he will be presenting a free stage reading of the play at 2 o'clock p.m. at the Complex Theater, 6476 Santa Monica Boulevard, Hollywood, California, 90038. Odell, welcome to the Coon Round Report.
How you doing, brother?
Oh, just fine. Can you introduce our other guests, these other two actors over here, cast members?
Right next to me, I have my wonderful cast. I'll just go ahead and let them introduce themselves.
I guess I'll start. Ladies first, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Sheila Sharma. I'm an actress. I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan. Moved here exactly about 3 years ago. Excited to be a part of this production again. We did it last year, and I'm excited that we're doing it again this year.
Hello, everyone. I'm Daniel Mark Staffer. I'm from Baltimore, but raised in Los Angeles. So if you ask me about Baltimore, I couldn't tell you anything. But yes, I'm very honored and excited to be part of this production again as well. Very powerful piece, and it does resonate to me to a degree. So when Adola had asked me to take part of this journey again, I was more than thrilled. So yes.
Wonderful. Now, before we get into our discussion of the play about breast cancer, I would like to play a short 2-minute clip from some of the Roby Theater actors about breast cancer. This is Sidney Wayne Davis. Okay, this is Melvin Ishmael Johnson with the Coon Round Report. I'm over here right now at the Roby Theater. They're doing a photo shoot for the excellent play, The Magnificent Dunbar. Who am I speaking with here?
I'm Sidney Wayne Davis, and I play Charlotta Bass.
Sidney, I want to ask you, can you tell us your thoughts on breast cancer among African-American females?
I love the fact that there's an awareness because women and men need to get themselves checked out. Go ahead and have your mammograms because cancer is something that we have to attack aggressively. I've lost 3 siblings to cancer, so getting checked out early, finding the right doctor, knowing what's going on in your body, I think is so important. So the fact that we have a month dedicated towards awareness of cancer that can come in the breast, which if they catch it early enough, can be treated and can save a life. So I'm all for it.
You think it has a lot to do with diet?
Well, it's hard to say, but they do say that about cancer. It's kind of like a mystery, but I think diet, but then also with breast cancer, you should also look at what's going on in your family. If it's something that's run in your family, some women make the choice, even some men go and have the operation, the mastectomy, so that they can continue to live.
Okay. What would you like to say in this Breast Cancer Awareness Month?
I would just like to say that life is thrilling and it's vital, and so pay attention to your body and don't put things off. Get your mammograms. You know, if you're over 50, you should be getting them at least once a year. I get mine once a year, and it gives me great joy to have a clean bill of health in that area. But in this month of awareness, be aware of your body, be aware of the signs, and get checked out.
One more question. What age do you think the younger females should start being concerned?
Well, I think they should talk to their doctor. I'm not a doctor, but I know my doctor said that if you're over 50, it should be once a year. So I think they should check with their doctor or their healthcare professional about that specifically.
Okay, thank you, Sydney. Melvin Johnson, Melvin Ishmael Johnson, the Coon Round Report. Okay, let's get into our discussion about this play. Odell, let's start off. Can you tell us how did the play Faces, Shades of Survival come about?
Well, it came about 4 years ago. I was basically thinking about my next production after I'd finished producing the Tupac tale, and I was just thinking about what kind of cause could I focus on for my production. And all I saw was the faces of these women. And for some reason, breast cancer came to mind. And I thought about it from the perspective of what would it be like to celebrate the faces of the survivors as opposed to celebrating the death of the women that had to fight the struggle. So I took that angle and I built on that and I started to play Faces. And then it developed into Faces, Shades of Survival because I wanted to focus on both the women that were still living and the women that did fight the battle at the same time. So it originated from celebrating those faces that are here and trying to celebrate the positive and not focus on the negative. And it started from there. Mm-hmm. And then I focused on 4 women who simultaneously received the news that they have breast cancer, and they're from all walks of life. So the goal behind that, which is always the goal behind my production company, which is Ruffin Entertainment, Education Through Entertainment, is we try to choose a topic or a cause that we can use to focus on, to push so that people can get exactly what we're trying to put out there as opposed to just entertainment. So it's more than just that. It's more of an education aspect to it, but we want to grab the audience and pull them in and then elaborate a little bit more about this powerful, I don't even know how to describe it, that has taken a lot of women's lives and affected millions and millions and millions of women that are here today.
Mm-hmm. Now, is breast cancer a universal problem among women, or is it just something more prevalent among certain ethnic groups?
Well, I mean, it's funny you asked that because we actually just volunteered for a 5K walk, which enlightened me on the fact that there are several women across all ethnicities that are affected by breast cancer. So that's one part of it. The next part of it is that originally I wanted to focus on the plight of African American women and how they're affected and the health insurance aspect and how they can get care and how they cannot be able to get care at the same time to fight this. So it started that way, but then, my eyes were opened up later on as I'm trying to develop the production even more, that this does hit women from all walks of life and all ethnicities.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, how about, is there a relationship between diet and breast cancer?
Diet and breast cancer. Mm-hmm. Well, I know that for sure. I cannot answer that definitely. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure on that one. So any of the actors want to comment on that? Aaliyah, what are your thoughts on it?
I don't know if there's, with everything, there's certain things that too much exposure to certain things or too much of something can cause cancer in general, not necessarily just breast cancer, but they say even deodorant can cause breast cancer. A lot of people have been switching to more organic deodorants. So I'm not sure about specific dietary restrictions and things like that, but I'm sure if I Google it.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on it?
It's very hard to answer that question because cancer does develop in many variety of ways. For example, the air that we're exposed to, the foods that we consume, or in fact, it could be hereditary. So from my understanding, it's a hereditary type of thing, but I don't know that for sure because there's other studies that does kind of conflict with that. So, I mean, it is kind of complex, but at the same time, it can happen in any variety of ways.
What are your thoughts? Any thoughts on that, Dan?
Just to say that I feel like it's still a learning process for all of us. Every single time we've done the show, we've learned more about women who are affected, the different things they go through, and also how women can change their lifestyles or modify their lifestyles in order to try and reduce the rate of incidence that they may contract breast cancer. And we know that there has been research that said that decreasing the amount of alcohol that women intake, living a healthier lifestyle that includes physical activity, as well as reducing the amount of stress, as well as paying attention to dietary intake and paying attention to the things that you eat and drink and do throughout your life, that there can be a reduction in terms of the rate that you may be able to contract breast cancer. So there has been research out there, but again, none of us are experts at this table. None of us are doctors. None of us are researchers. So we're all learning as we go through the process.
Okay, I think we got a doctor that's calling in, Dr. Lana. Who am I speaking with?
Yeah, yes, this is Dr. Lana. I'm not a medical doctor, but I do have knowledge in regards to the fact of eatings and the dietary needs in regards to those with cancer, and that is true. I'm listening to the answers that it's given, and I just want to just expound on that yes, changing the diet is very, very helpful in things that you do, including more vitamin C, vitamin E into your diet, and using more natural raw foods helps with cancer patients. I used to specialize in cancer patients when I did the energy work that I do, and it has definitely helped them to do that. There were those that survived and those that didn't, but those that survived, the change in their dietary intake as well as their exercise was a key piece in helping them to survive through it. And some of them surviving through it without even having to go through chemotherapy.
Now, Dr. Lana?
Yes.
Oh, I would like to ask you this. I come up in the Mississippi Delta, years ago, and I can't remember anything called breast cancer or the female suffering from anything like that. Is it the fact that we just didn't know about it and it was happening, or is this a new phenomenon?
It's been around for a long time. I actually, the first female in my family's generation, died from breast cancer when I was about 9 years old. So that was 40 years ago. So it has been around for a while. I just think now, once again, I'm looking at the whole dietary pieces of it, from the fact of the way foods are grown and the chemicals that are used within the foods that are eaten. That's why I'm saying if you go more organic and natural foods, it really has helped those that are suffering from the disease itself. And then when I look at it from an energetic perspective, there's some things, that's a whole different topic, which I don't want to deter you from on this one. But just from the medical piece of the Western medicine portion of it, the GMOs that are out there and the different things that are in the chemicals that are being used to insecticides and things like that's causing most of it as well. We didn't have all of that years ago. If you can think of it, coming up, we didn't have all those pesticides and things like that like we do today. And I think that's why it's more prevalent now than it has been in years past.
Now, one more question I would like to ask you, Dr. Lerner, and that's about something that I just really heard about when I was researching for the show, and that's breast cancer among men.
Yes, and that's also been in play for a while as well. This is not something that's new. It's just that it's just now being diagnosed and stated as being breast cancer in men. That has been around. To my knowledge, at least, patients that I've known of, from my perspective, it's been at least 10 years. But I think it was my first client that had male breast cancer from that piece. And once again, if I look at the dietary pieces of it from that person, the lack of exercise, and the other thing too is if you've seen studies, and I'm not saying that there's a correlation between the two. I just want to preference this statement. The new thing that's coming out with the medication that's used for ADD and a couple other things that's causing young boys to have enlarged breasts. So that, once again, is another thing that's causing it. And we never saw that coming up either, but it's just a chemical piece of it.
Mm-hmm. And now, what kind of advice? Let me ask you this question, then I'm going to ask if any of my guests have some questions for you. But in terms of the mammograms, what do you recommend the age of females in terms of yearly checkup? I know it used to talk about age 50 or something like that.
Well, I know that they have it stated that women over the age of 40 need to make sure that they have the mammograms on a regular basis. And once you get 50, there's an age range, and don't quote me on these ages because I'm not quite sure, but I know there's an age range like from 40 to about 50, 55. They're saying that you should get them every year. But once you hit a certain age, I think they change it that you don't need to get it every year because there's not that big of a change in growth cells and things like that in the breast. But I highly recommend it for those that are age 40 to 55 that you get your mammograms done every year.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I know ladies, I know it's very painful to get done for those that have larger breasts and even those with smaller breasts, but it's something that is very needed.
Okay. Odell, any of the guests have a question for Dr. Lana?
I do. Hi, Dr. Lana.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. This is Sheila.
Hi, Sheila.
Hi. So my question is, what about men? How do men go about these examinations? I would assume it's a little worse than a small-breasted female, but, men who don't have male breasts or whatever. How do you go about, how would they get checked? Do they do self-checks the way women do?
I would highly recommend the same thing in men as well, to do the same thing, since we have now found that it's become a phenomenon for men, that they do the same thing. Now, the reason they were asking for women to do the monthly checks is because of their cycle themselves. So your cycle changes the flow and the energy in your breast. That's why they were having you to do it. And it was also an easy reminder for you, so when right after your cycle you check your breast. So for men, I'd say at least every couple of months check it. Not to put the state of fear in anyone, but if there's been breast cancer on the female side in their family, I'd say check it every 3 months, once a quarter from a man's perspective. And just like the same thing we tell for women, if they feel that there's a lump or an unusual growth that's there, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's cancer, but it's something that they need to have looked at. It could be a cyst, because a lot of times women have cysts and not necessarily malignant growth that are there, and then we end up getting them checked out as well.
Mm-hmm. Doctor, this is Daniel. How you doing?
Hi, Daniel. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm just curious because forgive me here for being a little ignorant. I just discovered this issue of breast cancer amongst men last year. Didn't even know about it. I thought it was a joke that someone had brought it to my attention, to be honest with you. But after doing a little research, it is a serious thing here. But I'm just out of curiosity, what is the percentage of men who are diagnosed with this type of cancer across the United States? Do you know by any chance?
That number I don't know. Okay. I don't know that number. But I can tell you one thing that I do know, without knowing specific numbers, it has grown in the past couple of years. In the past 2 years, it has grown than it has been in the past 10 years.
Okay.
And I like I said, I'm not a medical doctor. I do more holistic approaches to things. And the piece of it from that is that we look back to our nutritional intake and what we're eating and how we're eating, right, from that perspective. And I know the one young lady was talking about alcohol intake. That too has a play in it. I know some alcohols, meaning some wines, because they're from natural grapes and things like that, are helpful for certain organs of the body, like the heart. But we also have to look at if we're working on one organ, are we damaging another?
All right.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any more questions for Dr. Lerner?
I have one question. Yes. I would just love to know where you're located at, because I would love for you to speak to the audience of our actual production. If you're in the LA area, that would be great.
I am actually in the LA area, and I have also submitted to be at the table read so I'll be there for that. I'm here in LA. I'm in the Valley. And,
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
and
great.
I can I can give you. Actually, I know one of your guests on the show, so she can give you all of my information.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Lana.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Let's listen to another short clip from some of the Roby Theater actors about breast cancer. Rhonda Stubbins-White doing some of her interviewing character. What are your thoughts on breast cancer?
Well, I think it's a terrible disease, and I do hope they find a cure. I do know survivors, and I think that the government would rather give people medicine and sell that and make money off of it than to cure women. And I think that because this is a misogynistic society, that women, usually health care for women is probably on the back burner, just like health care for black folk.
So who am I speaking with?
My name is Maybelle Smith.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What is the cause of the breast cancer among African Americans? Is it a problem?
Well, I think for all women, I think the white women too, they get the same thing. Spanish women, everybody get the same diseases. But I do think that they talk about early detection and all of that stuff, and feeling on your breast to see if you got some lumps and all of that. I think that if you start feeling bad, that you know pretty much something going on. Now, where it is, what's going on, I don't know, but I do think it's based on what you eat. I think a lot of young women like to be dieting and stuff, and they be real skinny, and they really concerned about all that, and so they be drinking saccharin and all of that stuff that they don't want no sugar. And I think that can cause disease. Also, I do think, that eating pork and all other stuff. I think a lot of stuff, what we're breathing, the air. I know people who live in the South, and they eat all kinds of stuff, and they live to be a good old age. So I think it might be the lifestyle.
Okay, then. Tell our audience one more time, who am I speaking with?
This is Maybelle Smith. I'm originally from Bogalusa, Louisiana, and I'm here in Los Angeles.
And your real name?
My name is Rhonda Stubbins-White.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. This is Melvin Ishmael Johnson with the Coon Brown Report. I'm going to put this. Okay, that's another one of the Roby actors during our interview in character. Let's take a little quick break for the community calendar, and then we'll come back and talk some more about Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and also hopefully do some live performance.
This is the community calendar for upcoming events. On Sunday, October 26, 2014 at 2 p.m. at the Complex Theater in Hollywood. A free stage reading to the public of Faces, Shades of Survival. This stage play is directed by our guest, Odell Ruffin. The Roby Theater Company presents The Magnificent Dunbar. This is a stage play written by Levy Lee Simon and directed by Ben Guillory. Opening night is Saturday, November the 22nd, 2014, at the Los Angeles Theater Center, 514 South Spring Street. The setting is Los Angeles, 1930 to 1960. This was a dangerous time for people of color. Looking for shelter? Well, welcome to the Magnificent Dunbar. This play will take you back to the 30s and 40s on Central Avenue in Los Angeles, where jazz was the music of the day. Sunshine and palm trees and cruising on Central Avenue with ease. Where the Duke, the Count, Dorothy Dandridge, and Lena Horne performed your favorite songs, and intellectuals debated the politics going on. Where everyday folks felt right at home. Where was this place, you might ask, or this place to be, that had all that pizzazz, all that jazz? Well, do tell, the place is, back in the day, the Magnificent Dunbar Hotel. There will be 22 performances of this play. For more information, please call 213-489-7402. Also, Levy Lee Simon, the playwright of The Magnificent Dunbar, and some of the actors will be our special guests on the Qumran Report Monday, November the 17th, 2014. If you have a community event that you would like announced on our show, send the information to dramastage1@yahoo.com. Attention, Early and Anthony. And the call-in number for the show is 800-893-9562. Now, back to our host.
Hey, thank you, Miss Earlene Anthony. We're back with our in-studio guest, Director Odell Ruffin, and some of the cast members from his play Faces, Shades of Survival. Let me ask you this. How important it is for artists to use their talent to impact community issues? I think you talked a little about it before. Can you talk a little about that?
I mean, it's the most powerful tool that we have. I mean, there's no limits when it comes to arts, when it comes to entertainment. I mean, we have music, we have acting, we have painting. I mean, there's no limits to that. And it's the most impactful tool that we have now in society currently. And we focus on that. We focus on using that in terms of political issues, education issues, entertainment. Right now, Faces is health. So we're doing that from that aspect. So it's extremely important. I believe in it. So I've staked everything in my production on that belief. So
one more question. Can you? One more question at this time. Can you talk about the tour that this production is? Some of the cities that it will be performing in.
Well, it's actually performed it's performed on the East Coast in D.C. and in Maryland, and we've done at least four full stage productions of it. We did a stage reading, a form of the stage reading about a year and a half ago here in L.A., so we premiered it then. And what we're doing is we're taking it to the next level right now, and we're going to be doing a series of stage readings, so to develop this into a full-length play. So there's and the next level of this is definitely coming, and we're trying to add a lot to it. So
Same cast, or would you be adding actors and readers?
I love using the same cast. We're going to be expanding into a full stage production, so there are going to be additional characters as well. So I love my cast. I love it, especially when we do well. I want to keep everybody. So.
Okay. Now, before we get back into our in-depth discussion, I want to do one more little short clip from the Roby actors over there talking about Breast Cancer Awareness Month. This is Elizabeth June. Okay, this is Melvin Ishmael Johnson with the Coon Brown Report. I'm over here with the Roby Theater at the photo shoot for the excellent production, The Magnificent Dunbar. Who am I speaking with here?
Hi, my name is Elizabeth June.
Okay, Elizabeth, can you tell me, this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I'm very excited that we're becoming more aware of breast cancer, especially within the Black community. And I think a lot of it has to do with us learning how to eat better, as far as eat healthier and to take care of our bodies from a young age, and also to watch out with the types of deodorants that we use, the chemicals that are in some of the deodorants. Those are things that, aluminum, all these things that we're becoming aware of, things that I never knew about as a kid. And now as we get older and we're realizing these are things that we have to really take care of ourselves, especially for women in the African American community.
Now, is breast cancer something that is universal among females, or do it represent itself at a higher rate, say, among African American or Hispanics or something like that?
I think it is universal, very much so, and it's not just with women. Breast cancer is also with men. A lot of people don't know that, and that's something that people need to be aware of. But I think with the African American community, again, a lot of it has to do with our diet. A lot of it has to do with stress. A lot of it has to do with not getting the rest and taking an exercise that we need. So these are reasons why we have to bring this awareness to the community. And I'm so glad to be a part of, I remember years ago I worked with, I'm a fitness instructor. In addition to being an actor, I'm also a fitness instructor. And so I was able to do fitness instruction for a lot of the women who were with the American Cancer Society. And I was grateful to do that when I was living in Florida. And I found out a lot of things about younger women are developing breast cancer. People don't realize, they think that it's an older woman thing. There were some girls who were like in their 20s, sometimes in their early 30s. So we have to start getting checked earlier, I think, than what was originally told to us.
Because originally they used to talk about what age 50.
Mm-hmm.
What age do you suggest now?
Yeah, I definitely say even in the late 20s that women need to start doing their own breast exams for themselves and then going to the doctor and getting the mammograms done, especially when you hit 40. But nowadays, I mean, I had a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine, who's a survivor, a brave, beautiful survivor of breast cancer, and she's only in her early 30s. So it's happening a lot younger now. We have to really do these self-breast exams, and then we also have to get checked out with the doctors at an earlier age.
One last thing, what would you like to say to our audience about doing this Breast Cancer Awareness Month?
I think that's important, even if you don't personally know anyone who has either survived or has succumbed to breast cancer, that you need to get the word out. You need to still have the awareness, because you never know. The next person you meet could be the person. It could be yourself if we're not aware and spreading the word. So I think it would save millions of lives if we were to really become aware, even if it doesn't personally affect us. We need to be aware for the next person, our next door neighbor, our friends, our family members.
Okay, thank you very much. Tell us again who I'm speaking with here.
Elizabeth June, and you can go to my website, elizabethjune.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. This is Melvin Ishmael Johnson with the Coon Round Report. Okay, let's move into some of the live performances. I'm going to have Odell do the setting for whatever portion that we'll be listening to.
Okay, thank you, brother. I'm going to set up the scene for you as best as possible. Okay, well, we have two characters. One is Nadine and one is Brandon. This scene basically is Nadine's discovery of breast cancer for the first time and how she interacts with her husband when she discusses that.
All right, look. All right, this is crazy. Now, how long you have this practice going, Nadine, huh? In case you haven't heard, we're in a recession, we're losing money. The whole graphic design team just got let go, and luckily I survived this round of layoffs, but I can't guarantee my job. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Now, you're going to have to listen to me, okay? And I know you offering these women low and free cost care is very important to you, but you got to
Wait, Brandon. You promised me when we got married you would not interfere with my practice. Now, you know how important
Yes, I know how important that is, okay? But we have a mortgage and 2 kids. It's about time you start being a little more practical here.
Oh, okay, so because I want to do something nice for others, I'm not being practical?
No,
Is that what you're trying to tell me?
No, I did not say that. I'm 30 years old, and I'm the youngest executive for one of the largest advertising firms in the state. Now, how would I look if we had our home foreclosed, huh? I worked hard to get where I'm at today. Hey, look. I worked hard to get where I'm at today, and I'm not going to see that be thrown away.
That was the end of that scene.
Great stuff. Great stuff.
Okay, powerful scene. I want to discuss that scene too, in terms of the impact on the relationship of when news like that comes out. I think we have another caller. Who am I speaking with?
Good evening. This is Reverend Diana Presley. How are you?
How you doing, Reverend Presley? Do you have a question or comment for one of our guests?
I do have a comment in regard to breast cancer issue. Now, of course, we know food has a lot to do with everything. We live in such a toxic environment. It's really important to get fresh fruits and vegetables in and things like that. But I was mainly calling because I recently discovered through some personal experience with some other people who are dealing with cancer, hospital-wise and doctor-wise, it seems like UCI Medical Center, the hospital and the doctors there are on the cutting edge of what to do about cancer. They are using a lot of different techniques and things that are not out there yet. It's a teaching hospital, so They are trying all sorts of things, and I have been really impressed with what I have seen and experienced through their walk and their attitude about cancer.
Is that University of California, Irvine?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
And the hospital and the doctors group, they're in Orange. They're in Irvine. The hospital is in Orange. And I personally know of 3 people who were basically told that, make your arrangements, the last rites, the whole thing. And I'm here to tell you, everybody's walking around like it never happened.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Can you talk about some of the things that they do? If it has a lot to do with diet, type of food, or like a medication?
From that aspect, from the hospital aspect, from what I have observed, it is more about the techniques and the modalities that they are using, the different types of chemo, which from the side of life I hang out on, that's a scary thing. But they have some new medicines. They have some new products that they don't talk a whole lot about. Mm-hmm. And it seems they are really getting it together as far as giving people these things, having them qualify as candidates for certain new techniques, and basically, I would say experiential, but they're walking up out of the hospital.
Mm-hmm. Now, Reverend, I want to ask you, you off into a faith-based organization, faith-based church?
Yes, I'm the director of the Health and Wellness Ministry at Agape in Culver City.
I see. How important is spirituality in terms of healing?
Well, thoughts are things. Spirituality, my definition for that is you're spiritual. The only thing we're talking about is your personal one-on-one relationship with God. It has nothing to do with somebody giving you a bunch of rules or telling you you're not good enough unless you say it this way or act this way. It is your one-on-one. It is knowing that thing that wakes you up in the morning and is breathing you and living your life, that's what it's all about. So with that knowing, and we hear about God's Spirit, the Holy Spirit as being something that is perfect in perfection and whole. If we hang with that, how can we not but heal?
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Okay, any of my guests, do you have a question for the Reverend?
I just want to say hi. Hi, Reverend Diana.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
And I actually want to ask another question here. Yeah. My name's Odell. I'm the writer-director of the play Faces. And how can Reverend Entertainment get involved with you guys in terms of your church and outreach? What would we have to do?
And so when you say get involved, what's the goal there?
Well, the goal is to actually have your congregation view our production in some sort of way, in some collaborative way that we could do that. How would we go about doing that? Or is there an involvement that you guys?
Okay, and this particular play is, I just got in, so I missed but a tidbit of the skit. It has to do with health, right?
Yes, it's called Faces, Shades of Survival. What it is it's a story about 4 women who discover that they have breast cancer and how they deal with it. And that's the particular topic that we're dealing with when it comes to this production. So I just overheard that your outreach program there. So that's the reason why I asked the question there.
Absolutely. So if you would contact me at Agape in Culver City, drop me a note or an email, revdiana@agapelive.com. I'm happy to do what I can.
I certainly
There's a lot of
appreciate that.
possibilities there.
I really appreciate that. I know that you're in Culver City, but we'd love to have you as a guest to come check out the stage reading on Sunday, October 26th.
Sunday, October
26th.
Yeah, there's a colleague of mine, and she's a part of the ministry. Her name is Dr. Lana Bedencourt, and I understand she'll be attending. So I would love to. I would absolutely love to.
Okay, well, that's great. That's great. That's a coincidence, but that's great.
So how could we have you ladies come and be a guest on the Qumran Report?
I could probably hook that up for you.
We're making some good contacts tonight. This is great.
Yeah.
We'd love to have you ladies come and be on the show.
Well, I would absolutely love to. It would be my honor.
Thank you.
Contact me.
One last comment. What comment would you like to make during this Breast Cancer Awareness Month?
Okay. So here's what I want to say. We come to this earth plane for a purpose, to do good for mankind in some way. I don't truly believe that any kind of cancer was on the list of what we had to deal with. So we have the power, we have the presence, and we have the knowledge to deal with any kind of cancer. There are a lot of cures for things. If we go back to the original, what started out to be medicine, I believe it's there already. And so we need to take into our hands and our hearts and our minds and look at what is right before us and not believe everything we're being told.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Reverend Diana, thank you very much for all of those important comments.
Mm-hmm. And thank you for doing what you do.
Thank you very much.
Okay, have a wonderful evening and a blessed week.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Let's open this up a little. Are you going to do another piece, or was that the only one?
I just wanted to discuss something.
Yes.
Last year when we were doing this, it was about a year and a half ago, I believe. One of my best friends was actually battling breast cancer. Mm-hmm. And so this was such a touching piece for me, and I was so glad to be a part of it. So I thank Leah and I thank Odell for having me as one of the cast members. She didn't make it through, which was a couple months after the production. So it was really, really upsetting for me because that was one of my best friends. But it did open my mind up a lot. I learned a lot about breast cancer and just different things about the diagnosis. I didn't know that she had a 75% chance of getting breast cancer in her life. Her father had passed away from cancer, and that was probably back in the late 80s. So at the time, he probably even had male breast cancer. But back then, no one diagnosed men for the most part, you didn't really diagnose men for having breast cancer. So had they actually known that, that's something that could have been a little more under her radar. And there are different preventive measures I wish that were taken. We didn't even discover she had it until stage 4. So it was a rough battle, and when they found out, it was very aggressive. So there was almost nothing. They tried chemo, and it just didn't.
What was her age when she?
28.
Oh, wow.
So that's another thing. A lot of people think, 40 to 55, start doing mammograms, but my best friend was 27 when she got diagnosed. And so it could be anyone. You could be as young as 15. It can hit at any age. So it's something to definitely take seriously. And anything you can do, regular doctor visits. If you know you have a history of any kind of cancer, it doesn't just have to be breast cancer. get checked out, because there's something called BRCA1 and BRCA2. I'm not too familiar on it, but supposedly there's a gene that mutates. And she also had that on top of her father having cancer. So with all of those odds against her, she ended up having like a 75% chance of getting breast cancer. So it's just sad.
I would like to add, before the production last year that I was able to have the honor to join the cast in the production. I lost my grandmother, not to breast cancer, but to pancreatic cancer. And the most devastating part of that was that it happened during the midst that I was on another production, along with Odell. Odell can speak on that.
Oh, yeah.
Not being in character, I don't know if you want to call that a professionalism, but I just poured in tears. I cried because I just didn't think it was going to happen at that time. And given the fact that my grandmother has always gone through stages, she's battled for years and years and years, and I thought she would be able to come over it, but she didn't. And it was just a tough time for me, and it was, from a personal standpoint. But the one thing I did learn was that she was always there. Though I had other things going on in my life, but this play right here touched on that and resonated to the fact that my family's always a priority no matter what. And I told my mother's like, you know what, Mom? What happened to grandmother was very devastating, but I'm your son and I'm going to be there for you. If there's anything wrong, please take care of your health. I'll do the same. Because that's a lesson to learn after what happened, to her. So it was touching, and again, this powerful piece right here definitely helped me. It resonates to what happened in real life to me. So
okay, how long is the play?
It's about close to an hour and a half.
Intermission? No intermission?
No intermission. No.
Good. No intermission.
Just a couple more things. We're going to open up for some final comment. Can you talk about your goal in raising awareness towards breast cancer research, financial assistance, special mammograms, screening for underserved and underinsured communities?
Oh, so you got all that information. I made sure you got that information. Yes.
You stole my line.
Yes. And one thing we failed to touch on, and my wife is actually here. She's part of Ruffin Entertainment. She doesn't say very much right now, but she's going to elaborate on this aspect of it. It's Leah Ruffin.
Thanks. It's just listening to you guys. Like, it's heavy, right? And I guess what I was thinking as I listened to Sheila and Dan was that, it's the first part, but Odell might have touched on this, that when he first wrote the play, at that time, there was no one in either one of our families that was impacted by breast cancer. Yep. But he felt that the Spirit of God encouraged him and gave him the vision to write this play. And I feel like there's no way that we could have seen all the ways that this would touch people, whether it's cast members, whether it's audience members, whether it's community members, whether it's us and just the people we've encountered along the way. The information that we've learned, the organizations that we've been able to work with, raise money for, to kind of get out awareness about this issue. And it's also really inspiring and humbling to see the convergence of art and awareness and science and health uplift something that touches all of us in one way or another. So, but to answer your question, actually I had a conversation with our local breast cancer organization, and they were mentioning that they had a mobile mammography unit that goes out to communities of color, low-income communities, and the issue isn't getting the unit out. The issue is actually getting women to agree to have a mammogram done. So I thought that was interesting because I felt like, kind of, again, this is the learning that we do through this process is constantly evolving. So I was like, okay, maybe the issue is more women need to have mammograms. And I'll touch on the whole, it is the age of 40. Prior to that, I actually tried to get one and was told that I couldn't because I am under the age of 40. So I have an issue with that, but that's not about me. But anyway, so I just thought that was interesting that they have a mobile unit. It doesn't cost women anything to actually have the mammogram done who do meet the qualifying things that they need to have, but it's actually getting them to want to do it. And I was like, okay, you know, I don't know what we can do to kind of maybe encourage women to take that step and encourage them to go and have it done. Maybe it's the fear of what they might find, or, you know, like I don't think it's the most pleasant process to go through. So I thought that was something very interesting, and a new dimension for us, right? You know, something new because it's, you know, it started out as awareness. Then it evolved into women of color, younger women, having more aggressive forms because it's not always caught soon enough so that it can be treated and women can increase their rate of survival. And now it's the idea of women who do qualify, encouraging them to actually go through and have the mammogram done. So, you know, we'll see kind of like what we can do through this play to address that. But I think that was an interesting issue, at least to me, that was kind of raised.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's an important issue too on putting the people that need this with the resources that's available. Let's go around for some closing comments and contact information. We're still a little less than 3 minutes left. Mm-hmm.
Well, just to close things out as far as Ruffin Entertainment is concerned, like my wife mentioned before, to add on to that, we do infuse a lot of information like health, education, politics, entertainment through the forms of theater arts, plays, web series, media, content coverage. And then we also partner, just to elaborate on what you asked me, we partner with community organizations. And that's how we kind of, when you're talking about helping the uninsured, we partner up with as many community organizations as we can that's relating to the issue that we're dealing with in terms of either our play or our web series or a future film or documentary. Anybody that we can link up with, that's the way we usually work. And you can find any of our content at Ruffin Entertainment, Facebook, Instagram, Ruffin, that's RUFFINT. And then Ruffin Entertainment, again, Facebook, and then Twitter, Ruffin ENT on Twitter. I'm trying to make sure I get all that out there.
And web series, too.
Web series, www.ruffinentertainment.com. Check it out there. I've got a list right in front of me I'm looking at right now, ruffinent@gmail. If you have any questions or concerns about all of our productions, any upcoming productions, and any ideas that you might have to give us about doing future productions.
Okay.
And then we want to make sure we invite folks to come out on Sunday.
Of course.
Yeah.
You probably got about 20 seconds.
Okay, well, you can follow me on Instagram at SHEELAS. And if you have any questions, you can email me at glitzglament@gmail.com.
Okay, Brother Dan.
Oh, man, you can find me on Instagram at Daniel Mark Stafford. Again, that's Daniel Mark Stafford. Or you can find me on Facebook at daniel.m.stafford or Twitter, which I rarely use. But anyways, you can find me at twitter.com/DMStafford.
Okay. Leah, the same as...
Yes, Ruffin Entertainment. Everything go downstairs.
Okay. I'd like to extend special thanks to Odell, Brother Dan, Sheila Sharman, Sidney Wayne Davis, Rhonda Stubbins White, and Elizabeth June, Leah Ruffin over there. Please listen to past shows of the Qumran Report by Googling in Qumran Report. Thank you for tuning in to the Qumran Reports, and from your host, Melvin Ishmael Johnson, and my co-host, Earlene Anthony, may the peace and blessings of the life-giving creative spirit be upon you and upon your family. I leave you with the song that opened the show, Break Every Chain, sung by Sidney Wayne Davis and Julio Hansen.